The Alliance for Change is heaping scorn on the government's proposed hemp production in some sugar estate lands. Police are still hunting a man they say killed his wife about 1 week ago at their Falls, East Coast Amarara home. Regionally, the Caribbean is set to have its first all-electric fleet of aircraft. And internationally, we get the latest in the war between Russia and Ukraine. The details coming up after this message from our sponsors, KFC.
Hate to stand in lines? Don't worry. KFC has got you covered with their drive-thrus, which are open now from 9 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. at Movietown, Vlissingen Road, Mandela Avenue, Reading Hoop, Parika, and the Amazonia Mall. That's right, you can drive through at 6 of their 9 locations. Remember, their current opening hours are 9 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Go on down and let your taste buds savor the spices today. KFC.
It's finger-licking good.
And now the news in detail. New York Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin, whose mother is Guyanese, has been arrested and charged with bribery and fraud. U.S. prosecutors say he allegedly directed state funds to a group controlled by a real estate developer who was a campaign donor. Reuters news agency reported that Benjamin, a Democrat appointed as the state's number 2 official by Governor Kathy Hochul last August, directed a $50,000 state grant to the organization. At the time, he had been serving as a state senator in 2019. The developer then sent Benjamin's campaign for state senate thousands of dollars through several checks in the names of the developer's relatives and a limited liability company, according to the indictment. The indictment did not identify either the developer or the organization that the developer controlled. Benjamin surrendered to authorities on Tuesday morning, according to a spokesman for the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office. He faces 5 charges, including bribery, wire fraud, and falsification of records. His father is Jamaican. Leader of the Alliance for Change, Comrade Ramjitan, says the government is planning to hand over well-developed sugar estate lands to its favorite investors to plant hemp. He believes that those on standby to acquire the lands include rich friends of the governing People's Progressive Party. Vice President Jagdeo earlier this month told sugar industry workers in Berbice that the level of sugar production will be reduced and the lands will be used to cultivate hemp and produce special shrimps for export. But AFC leader Ramjitan says the focus should be on food production.
Because of the stupidity of their agricultural policy, you're going to get hemp instead of plantains and pumpkins and pineapple and prawns.
Mr. Ramjitan is also concerned about the way the project is being rolled out to plant hemp in Guyana.
They want to come to take those prize lands that is already infrastructured with drainage and irrigation canals and dams and beautiful roads and all of that. Them go buy that for a penny, and our people will not get to plant food. They go get plant hemp. Cane cutters and all of them inside of them, the strong support areas got punished because they're not going to get land to plant food. It's food we got to do here in the coast. If you are a big investor and you want to go into hemp, take 30,000 acre, 40,000 acre in the intermediate Sahara. Go and create your land, your drainage and irrigation, your dams, your roads, your whatever. And you plant your hemp, man.
That's AFC leader Comrade Ramjitan speaking on a party program. AFC on the move. Police say they're still searching for a man who allegedly killed his wife and escaped through a window. A police force spokeswoman says a joint search has been conducted by the police, community police, and the residents of the Enmore Backlands. They're looking for Vijay Raj, a mother of 3, who was stabbed in her sleep at her residence at Falls, East Coast Amarara. Dead is Savitri Raj. Her son had related that he had heard his mother scream. He reportedly told the police that when he rushed upstairs, he saw his father escaping through a window. The prime suspect has not been seen since. The husband had previously struck his wife with a bottle. A businessman in Bartica has been killed in a road accident in that gold mining town. That is 54-year-old Prem North Prasad, also known as Green's Man. The accident occurred on Saturday night on First Avenue, Bartica. Police say he was struck down by a motorcycle that was being driven by Eric David, a 19-year-old gold miner. Investigators were told that the motorcycle was going at a fast rate of speed when it struck down Prasad. The pillion rider, 19-year-old Fabian Stanford, and David were treated and sent away. David has since been arrested. A top health official in Tobago is warning of a surge in COVID cases as a result of several Easter parties. Photos of hundreds of maskless spectators rammed together and enjoying themselves at parties have left Secretary of Health, Wellness and Social Protection Dr. Faith Boy Israel gravely concerned. At the Vibes with Voice event at Fairways Restaurant and Golf Lounge, Lowlands, on April 14, party-goers were seen dancing and singing along as soca artist Voice performed on stage. Of approximately 200 people in a photo taken by Newsday's photographer David Reed, less than 5 were seen wearing a mask. The event was one of many parties to kickstart the island's Easter weekend celebrations. The Prime Minister recently ended the majority of COVID-19 restrictions, but as fete lovers enjoy themselves after 2 years of restrictions, the Health and Wellness Secretary says she has already spoken to the Tobago Regional Health Authority to prepare its facilities for a possible surge of COVID-19 cases. She hopes that Tobagonians do not regret the economic gains that they have made this weekend in another 2 weeks. Cape Air, the Massachusetts-based airline that has a strong presence in the Caribbean, is going electric. The company has signed a letter of intent to purchase 75 all-electric Alice commuter aircraft, meaning the long-time regional carrier will become the Caribbean's first electric airline. With the move, the company says it wants to set up an unparalleled regional electric fleet, taking a pioneering step into the sustainable era of aviation. The Aviation Alice is the world's first fully electric aircraft with a range of up to 440 nautical miles on a single charge at a top-up speed of 250 knots. Cape Air's Caribbean network includes destinations like St. Thomas, Tortola, Virgin Gorda, St. Croix, Culebra, and Vieques. The Caribbean's regional airline have been leading the way from a sustainability perspective. Earlier this year, luxury airline Tradewind Aviation launched the region's first ever carbon offset program, covering the cost of 100% of the airline's carbon emissions. The Grenada National Reparations Committee commissioners are appalled but not surprised by a recent revelation by researchers in the United Kingdom about slave ownership on that Caribbean island. Research shows that in the early 1770s, the Bank of England acquired and subsequently owned 599 enslaved people on the island of Grenada. The 599 Africans were enslaved at plantations located in Bacolay and Chemin, there in Grenada. In 1790, the bank sold the 2 plantations to Member of Parliament Andrew Bailey for the equivalent of £15 million sterling or 52 million Eastern Caribbean dollars in today's money. According to an article published this week in the Guardian newspaper, this shocking revelation is one outcome of a research project led by Michael Bennett, a specialist in the history of early modern Britain and Caribbean slavery, and volunteers from across the Bank of England's Ethnic Minorities Network. This new finding is part of an exhibition held at the Bank of England's museum in London, where the bank is currently headquartered. In a moment, we go to the BBC World Service for the latest bulletin of world news. Stand by. Over now to London.
BBC News with Sue Montgomery. Ukraine says Russia has launched its anticipated large-scale offensive in the east of the country. In a televised address within the past hour, President Volodymyr Zelensky said he could confirm that the battle for the Donbas region had begun. Earlier, the Secretary of Ukraine's National Security Council said Russian forces had tried to break through almost the entire front line in the Donetsk, Luhansk and Kharkiv regions. This Ukrainian fighter in Donbas insisted his country's fellow soldiers would hold firm.
We know that Russian forces are bringing reinforcements into this region, but we're doing everything possible. We are ready to repel the Russian occupiers and prevent the capture of our cities. We will stand to the last and defend our homeland.
The Ukrainian authorities in the besieged port of Mariupol have accused Russia of using so-called bunker-busting bombs at a steel plant where the remaining resistance is concentrated. The city council says 1,000 civilians have taken refuge in underground shelters there. The World Bank president says the war in Ukraine, together with the resurgence of COVID in China, has contributed to a drastic reduction in its global growth forecast for this year. David Malpass said the bank's estimate had dropped from 4.1% growth worldwide to 3.2%. Here's Jonathan Josephs.
Over the course of just 3 months, the World Bank has slashed its forecast for how much the global economy will grow by nearly 1%. That's a big drop and reflects the scale of economic shock the war in Ukraine has caused. It, along with Russia, will be most affected. In surrounding countries, recession is now likely because of Central Asia's dependence on Russia and Eastern Europe's influx of refugees. Poorer countries, many of them in Africa and the Middle East, are likely to see living standards suffer.
The South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has declared a national state of disaster over the devastating floods around the city of Durban. In a televised address, he said a massive and urgent relief effort was needed. He also gave an update on the number of deaths.
To date, a total of 443 people are known to have lost their lives in KwaZulu-Natal, and there's been a reported death also in the Eastern Cape as a result of the floods. Approximately 48 people are missing or unaccounted for in KwaZulu-Natal.
The Israeli army says it shot down a rocket launched at Israel from the Gaza Strip, which is controlled by the militant Palestinian group Hamas. There's been no immediate claim of responsibility. It's the first such attack from Gaza in 7 months and follows several days of violence at Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. BBC News. A Canadian investigative group says computer networks at the British Prime Minister's office, 10 Downing Street, and the Foreign Office have been infected with Pegasus spyware. The Citizen Lab investigators said they notified the UK government about security breaches in 2020 and in 2021. Citizen Lab said the Foreign Office infections were believed to be linked to operations out of the United Arab Emirates, Cyprus and Jordan, and could have been related to staff serving abroad. The Downing Street incident was also linked to the UAE. It's not clear if any data was taken. In the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, 2 soldiers have shot dead 15 people in separate attacks. A local official said a drunk soldier in a boat in Lake Tanganyika killed 8 passengers. The soldier was later detained in South Kivu province. On Sunday, another soldier shot dead a colonel, his bodyguard and 5 civilians in Ituri province. One of the greatest British classical composers of the 20th century, Harrison Birtwistle, has died. He was 87. Our arts correspondent, David Silito, reflects on the impact of his complex style of music.
The music of Sir Harrison Birtwistle. When he was growing up, British classical music was dominated by Elgar and Vaughan Williams. He and fellow students such as Peter Maxwell Davies at the Royal Manchester College of Music rejected it all in favour of something more modern, angular, continental. The son of a farmer, he got his first music lessons at the Halle Orchestra. By the end, this rebellious outsider whose creations had seemed strange, difficult, avant-garde, become part of the musical establishment.
BBC News.
That's the news to the moment.
KFC delivery is now available from the Amazonia location. For shore-based Little Diamond residents, call 632-0533, 632-0533, 6080-162, 6080-162, or 503-3591, 503-3591. That's KFC's delivery service from the Amazonia location. KFC.
It's finger-licking good.
Now to end the news, a recap of the highlights. The Alliance for Change is heaping scorn on government's proposed hemp production on some sugar estate lands. Police are still hunting a man they say killed his wife about 1 week ago at their Falls, East Coast Demerara home. Regionally, the Caribbean is set to have its first all-electric fleet of aircraft. The news came to you with the compliments of Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC.
This has been the news, compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom. For ongoing updates, visit demerarawaves.com, and you can check facebook.com/demwaves and twitter.com/demwaves.
This is News Talk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM. The time, 18 hours 16.
For the toughest jobs, there's only one original motor oil, Valvoline, powering the world's heavy-duty engines in every corner of the world. You can trust the super protection of the original to keep your business moving forward. Valvoline, the original that never stops improving. Distributed by Swiss Machinery, Eccles Public Road. Telephone 233-3821 or 2495 or WhatsApp 691-1732.
And now we join the BBC for the remainder of the evening.
Last story, we're taking you to the Midwestern US state of Utah for the tale of a boy diagnosed with